Hello, my name is Xavier Mercado, and this is Spearhead Conversations. Today, I'm joined by special guest Fred Gillich.
What's up, homie?
He is the creator of 414 Milwaukee Clothing.
That's right.
And if you've been following, you know the gear I've been wearing has been pretty authentic. Well, here's the master.
I don't know about that, man.
Sensei.
Dude, I don't know about that, dude. I just want to make people look good. Because when you look good, man, you feel good, right?
Definitely.
I mean, nobody wants to walk around with a pair of piss wipers on, right?
No.
Some Pro Keds or some shit.
No, I love the quality in your brand.
Thanks, man. That's what I aim to achieve at. I feel like Milwaukee deserves the best. So it's been this progression of started as a t-shirt, not even that, a sticker.
Yeah.
And it's turned into like tracksuits and flags and beer and all that sort of stuff.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course, dude. I'm loving what you're doing, man. I love that you're giving voice to kids and inspiration to people who want to listen to that.
Yeah.
It's very vital. It's like it's blood. You have to have it, right? And you offer it. So,
well,
this is your blood type.
Without further ado, how you doing, Fred?
I'm feeling good, man. It's been a long week, so I'm glad, I get to relax and talk about stuff that's not really work related, but probably work related. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Well, the brand is quality. I love the way it feels when I put it on.
Nice, dude. I'm happy to hear that, man.
Looking around the shop, you know what it is. You know the vibes.
Yeah. You know how to check it out. I'm glad you wear it, man.
Oh,
or you just, you got to get your kids in it too. We got little kid tracksuits. I'm going to hook you up with your kids.
Okay.
We'll
get them in, bro.
We'll get them, dude. I'm going to outfit them, make them look like posse, man.
Yeah, man.
It'd be like Xavier Super Mercado Posse.
There you go, the Mercados.
That's right, dude. That's the name of your next jam. The Mercados.
The Mercados.
I love it.
So let's jump right in then.
What you got for me, man?
Yeah, so where are you from?
Milwaukee, North Side, dude.
Sherman
Park.
Sherman.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's been I went to Sherman Multicultural School.
Okay.
And so that's on 51st and like Locust or whatever.
Oh wow.
And so yeah, it's a cool school, man. And went there, and then went to Steuben, which is now French immersion, and then Tech. So I'm like through and through MPS, dude, K through 12.
Yeah, I man, I look back now. I wish I would have went to Tech because I never really. Look, I went to South Milwaukee, but the way I feel about school is they teach you shit that you're not really gonna use.
Tech was not like that. Almost, there were a few classes that I'm like, you could do without. But for the most part, whatever you were interested in, they had it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was technical, and it was trades.
Yeah.
It's like that's what you need for post high school.
Yep, I would agree.
You taught me how to read, write, do math, but come on, let's be serious. Trade is where you at. I did installing floor for.
You would have probably benefited the most from that, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Like in the 9th grade, man, they had us like take car engines apart, man, and put them back together again with like these like piston valve things that if they weren't calibrated, like could blow up in your face.
Yeah.
So all kinds of stuff. And then, electrical circuit boards we made in like woodworking shop and metal shop and plumbing.
Yeah.
And it's like you get a very good overview. Like I'm not great at any of that stuff. I was good at the architectural rendering and the commercial art side of stuff because, I just had an art background since I went to grade school. Like when I was a kid, I would sit in my room and draw on like graph paper because I thought that was the only kind of paper there was.
Oh wow.
And like these designs, and I would send them to Ocean Pacific brand.
There you go.
And I'd be like, hey, I'm this kid, I loved it, and I was wondering if you could submit my, submitting my design. I wonder if you could improve it, and and then I did like 12 or 13 of those, and then they never replied, ever. And I was like, I'm gonna show those dudes. And then, ironically, that's kind of what I do for a living now.
Yeah. For the most part, what was your childhood like?
Like any kid, man. Like we horsed around, man. We screwed around. Be home when the lights are on. We'd go BMXing, like in the whole neighborhood. We'd have our little areas that we'd ride to. We'd hang out in the alley. Like it was like alley culture, man.
Yeah.
Like there were so many kids in the neighborhood, dude. There was like dozens, and if you wanted something to do, you just peek your head out. who's in the alley, and then you'd hoop it up, or you'd play like stickball, or strikeout is what we called it.
Yeah.
And do you know what that is?
Strike ball?
Strikeout.
So what is
It's
it?
like
Like
stickball.
a paddle?
No, strikeout is like it's a pitcher and an outfielder, and you're up against the wall, and you like spray paint an X.
Okay.
And that's the strike zone. And then the goal is to hit a home run.
I
But you get
stickball, but
stickball is the same.
yeah.
Like we did that too, but
Yep.
when we found a wall, because like you only got like 2 pitches
Okay.
or 2 strikes with strikeout. I mean, so I don't know, changing the rules and stuff, but we horsed around. Basically, you kind of learn things on the streets real quick.
Oh, for sure.
You know who was cool, you know who wasn't cool, you know who was doing what, and you just with that many people in the neighborhood, man, there was all kinds of walks of life, and so it was fun.
What ways you stood out amongst all these people?
Well, that's a good question. Mostly after a while, like some of my friends, there's a few that I still talk to occasionally. They're actually pretty cool. They turn out great. Some of them were knuckleheads, man. They just, they ran the wrong crowd. They were doing the wrong things, smoking the wrong shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, fucking, I don't want to do that, dude. And then like it was the music thing for me. Like that was like they weren't listening to the same music I was. I was a little bit more curious, about the world and just more than like what's going on the block. And that's where it started, man.
Yeah.
It started that way. Yeah. It was like, that's kind of was the inspiration. Because like the creative process has always been like, what do you listen to when you make shit or do stuff? And so it was always like fucking Black Sabbath or Led Zeppelin or, shit like that.
Yeah.
And so that was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden it changed, and it's like, oh, I'm more interested in that. And like, what's going on over here,
Yeah.
And then that was like, exploration was like, well, let me just go out of the neighborhood school. And that's when I went to tech,
Okay.
because it was like on the south side,
Yeah.
and it was like, well, what's going on over here? And then you kind of find out, oh shit, this is the south side. It's already got its south side-ness to it.
It's the realness. What age did you take a liking into doing threads?
Threads, I'd say I used to do merch for bands in the 90s.
Wow.
And so we would like do t-shirts for them. And I was like, I was that kid who had the Hugo Boss sweater. When I was a kid. And it's like I had to have that cool sweatshirt that no one had. And so I was always that dude who wanted to make something or wear something that's no one had.
Yeah.
And so I always liked it that way because this stuff is, in this world, it's kind of like an expression. Whatever you're wearing, you're saying something about where you're from or who you are. And so instead of having these like long ass conversations with people you don't want to talk to,
Yeah.
you can just be like, now you know who I am.
Now you know who I am.
Right. And so that's kind of how that started.
Yeah.
And so it kind of maintained it. And then it was always like, you wanted, when it was doing the band stuff. So I did stuff for like Citizen King and like Paul Seabar and like Willie Porter and all these like Milwaukee bands.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea was like if they were to travel on the road and you wore something cool from them, and you're like, oh, that dude looks cool. He's from Milwaukee. It's not just beer and cheese. Yeah, of course it's not just beer and cheese.
Not at all.
Right? And so that was the goal, How many people do you know wear like a New York Yankees hat and think they represent New York? And they got nothing to do with New York.
That is very true.
Right? So it's like, now it's like if you want to wear a 414 hat and you're out somewhere, then you can be like, oh, that's where you're from. And you could look just as cool eventually, or hopefully, as someone who's got one of those.
Yeah.
Like that's what that's the goal. I mean, how many?
And
people,
it works.
How many people wear Packer shit?
Yeah.
Right. And you see him in an airport, or you see him in another city, and it's always that like dumb looking Packers guy. And you're like, we don't all look like you, man. Like
I was out the other day, and yeah, man. Had somebody, I'm wearing one of the threads, and someone comes up, hey, I like your sweater.
See, there you go.
It's like
Starts
that's what it is. It's a conversation starter.
That's
exactly.
it.
And I mean the quality that you put into these, because I mean I love the sweaters, bro. They're so damn cozy.
Dude.
It's like they're
you want to live in them.
They're in rotation. They're in rotation. Shout out to Hectic.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Right?
Yeah.
All the days that end in Y.
What draws your love and passion for designing?
I don't know. I just love doing it. Like I said, man, when I was younger, that's just what I wanted to do because I thought it was easy to communicate that way.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, I always thought that was the trick was, how to say something to somebody without not necessarily doing it because like I wore a lot of stupid stuff too, right? But it was like once you kind of like discovered what it is that you liked, you got into like wearing your band shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was an easy way to, you know, identify like the crowd you wanted to hang out with, you know? And that's what it was, right? Because it's like, you know, when you grow up, you're kind of like, damn, this is kind of like the same old Milwaukee story, right? It's always, you know, go Packers and you know, you just kind of you're kind of like blindly following what like the narrative is.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, not everyone is like that, you know, like a lot of people have like more interesting horizons. You get to meet more people, you know, you get to talk to and make new friends. And that was the goal. Like my first friend that I met was like, I walked up to dude's door and his birthday is actually January 18th.
Oh, not there. 16th, baby.
Well, and so I knocked on his door and I was like, hey, dude, you're cool. You want to be friends? That's my first friend.
Yeah.
And so it worked, man. And that's kind of what it was. And, you know, we just kind of did everything like, you know, all of us we had our crew, you know, that we all ran with. There was like 4 or 5 of us. And then the older brothers would show up and then like the extended families would show up. And then anytime you wanted to play football in the alley, you could.
Yeah. There you
know,
go.
anytime you wanted to hoop it up, you could. Because all you had to do is like just look outside. And some of the kids actually got really good at hooping, man. Like one kid went to Green Bay and he was like really good.
Oh, wow.
And like we thought we were good, you know, street balling and all this stuff. And all of a sudden this dude is like, fuck, he's getting this. You know, he's playing D1 basketball. And you're like, that's the difference between like you think you're good and real good. And then that dude wasn't even real good. He was just good.
He was just, it was flawless.
Yeah, for him, it was like nothing. And we were just like, damn, he's so fucking good. We were all jealous, man, of this kid, you know? And so that's kind of, you know, we would do that on the hobby, but then, you know, other dudes would do like technical stuff. They, you know, and I was like, I like the arts, man. I just like making shit.
Yeah.
And so that's where that was. And that's, so it's kind of, I've maintained that all the time. I'm super interested in like creating things or being inspired by things that I don't know. I just see things differently. Like I have like an outsider's perspective of stuff.
So you're the creator and founder of 414
of this brand. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's what it is. It's not a new idea.
What,
like, you know,
but what
area code thing is not a new idea, but the, you know, the house address thing, the tiles that everyone has in the city, I'm surprised no one ever put it together.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so it's like if we're going to rep this the right way, we're going to do it the right way. You know, any knucklehead can just be like, oh, 414 on something. And I'm like, well, dude, show me what you got. Show me you have some skill.
Yeah.
You know, and so, because it's not like this is all I do. I've been doing this for a long time.
Well, what inspired this brand?
Shoveling, dude. Like shoveling, dude. Getting cracked in the head saying, I hate winter. And then I looked up and I looked at that address and I was like, damn, dude, like, I guess this is where I live. You know? And it's like, well, I'm not going to have winter own me.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, and then it was just like, you know how you get like clocked upside the head and you're like, all of a sudden you have this like real clear idea of what you want to do. For sure. And that's what it was. So that was like 11 years ago.
Oh, so that's when it was founded.
That's when the 414 was founded. Yeah. But before that I did this, and I still do it, this brand called Too Much Metal, which is the music inspired stuff. Mm-hmm. And so that started with the sticker and it kind of led to that. You know, and so because like the Too Much Metal stuff I took around the world, like Coachella invited me there, Lollapalooza invited me to do their thing. So like rolling everything up in a van and, you know, selling at these things was, you know, holy shit, you know, like you want me here? That's cool.
Damn.
And so, yeah, I mean, that thing is everywhere. Like it's in movies now, you know, like shitty hippie bands do it. Yeah. You know, but it, you know, it's like cool things can like, it was weird because a friend of mine who was traveling with a band worldwide heard about it in Australia of all places. And then when he found out, he's like, I saw this sticker in Australia and it's like everyone had it on all their road cases and the bands were all into it. And then he found out that I did it. And there's a guy that I knew who was from here, from Milwaukee. Yeah. And he was hired as a session drummer for this touring band, right? It's, I'm not going to get into the names, but they're bands that everybody knows. They're like household brand names.
Yeah, for sure.
And so he was like, I had no idea that this started here because he hadn't been living here for a while. Yeah. And he's like, so that was like the aha moment where it's like, yeah, when we travel, Milwaukeeans are actually really cool. Most people don't know about that because like they have this idea of what Laverne and Shirley is, or, you know, like the Bronzy, which they're all cool in a real fictional world, but we're living in a real world.
Yeah, I've always looked at this city like we just have our own. We have our own uniqueness. Like it's like our culture is. It really is different. I've traveled to Florida. I've traveled to New York, especially in New York.
Yeah.
You know, like that's where I was born. I tried living there, didn't work out. I had to come home.
Isn't that weird?
But you know, when you look at, we're how do I say this? The Midwest is very slow but very upbeat.
Yeah, it is faster now because of technology.
Yes,
I think, and I would agree it's still slow.
Mm-hmm.
We don't adopt things quickly. I think that's changing now.
Yeah,
more than it ever has. And so I think what we really gravitate towards in the Midwest is we get sold bullshit all the time. And so, because they just think, oh, gee, this is the guy from South Milwaukee. Well, you know, he likes the Crusher and wrestling and all that kind of things.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, well, yeah, man. And then you're going to sell him some shit you don't need. You know,
for sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then so we're just kind of skeptical. And when we see somebody do some real shit,
Yep.
something that's authentic, like and then we go, that's what we like. And then we get really loyal with that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's my jam. Don't fuck with my jam. That's mine.
That's it.
You know, and then we do that. But I think the interesting thing is it wasn't, when I came up, it wasn't really encouraged. Like all my friends left to go do super creative things in big cities. And they've become really successful at it. And I was like, well, dude, like not that I didn't want to do that or have those aspirations. It was that realness that you were talking about that in the Midwest doesn't exist in an LA or a Chicago.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Or maybe it's Chicago, but definitely not LA and definitely not New York. You know? And so it's like, look, man, we have the best water source on the damn planet, dude. You're all going to come back here anyway. Once your fucking cities are flooded and the rats take over, you know where you're coming right here. And guess what? You ain't pulling that shit. It ain't gonna happen, dude. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
You know? So
Fred coming out the chest right now,
right
buddy.
on, dude. Why do you think Chicago is in Milwaukee every weekend, dude? Like all I see in the neighborhood here are Chicago plates. And I'm going, man, I guess you like getting away, don't you?
You love it. This is the getaway.
This is the getaway. And so we're on that, that tipping point of like a creative culture that didn't exist really 20 years ago. Yeah. Now you've got a food scene, the culture bus rolls up. You know, you've got, the bagel people, you've got the coffee people, you got the music, you got the band, you got the local club, you got everyone's making a t-shirt brand, everyone's got a streetwear brand.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, dude, that's cool. We have those things. You got your ass laughed at hard.
For sure.
20 years ago, man. People would be like, get the fuck out of here, man. Go to a real job.
Yeah.
Go work in somebody's factory.
Well,
which is nothing wrong with that,
nothing wrong.
I mean, because, dude, that shit makes the world go round. You don't take that for granted because it's like real world shit, right?
Yeah.
But for us, LA wasn't an option, because you didn't like it there. You didn't feel at home.
Well, now that, back to your designs, you have this authenticity to you. And with that, what are your favorite material and color tones to
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, sometimes I like putting the shit that doesn't go well together.
Can I just say, you throw me off?
Why?
No, it's in a good way.
Okay.
With these designs, it's like, what's next?
Yeah. Thanks, man.
What's next? You know what I mean? And I love all the designs. How you mesh with the Admirals or mesh with the Bucks or even the Brewers. But
a lot of it's inspired because it's the alternative to like whatever. Like I said, it's for like it's from an outsider's, perspective. It's like, I don't want to wear like the team jersey. I don't identify with the game of baseball like that or the game of basketball like that, right? But I like the sport and I like it. But it's like I'm not the dude to wear like that.
Definitely.
I got to be the dude who wears that inspiration from stuff. So luckily in the past, like the Bucks recognized that and partnered with them, and then Harley recognized that and I partnered with them, and the Admirals do that.
You've made your brand. You've meshed with and collaborated.
Yeah.
What do you wish you saw more of in trends? In fashion trends, like
it's happening right now, dude. I think there's this boldness that's happening.
Yeah.
There's this. People are realizing that what they're expressing can be exactly who they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, the things that, like the narrative that's like, because like my niche was the alternative to the mainstream thing.
Yeah.
So I riffed and jived off of that, right? And traded off of that. So we go back and forth. These kids don't even need those hurdles, if you will. They just like, I'm into butterflies or I'm into whatever they're into, and they fucking do it and they do it well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good, because now you don't have to, because like I do my thing too. Like that's just not always that. But the thing is that there is a place now that didn't exist before where you could introduce that creativity that didn't have to, trade off of the other things that are really staples in the city.
I've been saying like for some time now, I feel like Milwaukee is in this type of bubble.
Yeah.
That is getting ready to pop.
Absolutely it is.
And I say with the most confidence, be on top of your shit when that bubble pops.
I agree, man. Right.
Be on it, man.
Right. Because like you might get hurt.
Yeah.
You might get hurt if you're not prepared.
Yeah.
What's the old line? Luck is being ready.
Yeah.
So you're only lucky if you've been preparing.
If there's one thing that I'm
doing your thing.
Yeah.
Because like this is what I like about you is you go all in. You're like, okay, I started out maybe not knowing how to do this, but you had a vision. And that you're improving the vision. Yeah. You've got a new setup. You got a new rig. You got all this equipment. You're putting it back into the thing that you love. Mm-hmm. That's when you know. That's exactly when you know you love what you're doing.
I appreciate.
Because a lot of cats take the money and they run.
Yeah.
And you don't see them from them again, and they end up being drunks in a bar somewhere, which is the easy way out.
Yeah.
Like you're at the top of the middle. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Like, but no one remembers the top of the middle, dude. Like so. That's the thing that I like about you is like you want this. You've got this vision. We talked before about this where you want to take it, and the thing is, anyone can be creative, man.
For sure.
At any time. The whole creative thing is not just, you're that all the time. Everyone is.
Yeah.
Their antennas maybe aren't always up, and they're maybe not always tuned in, right? And so when you do that, and that's what you do, then you just tap into that and you do it, right? Yep. So for anyone that says, don't follow those dreams or don't do the thing that you love is probably speaking from a place of like resentment or they couldn't do it.
I totally agree. Well, that's what draws
I'm not
me
saying
to
couldn't.
You. Yeah.
Like, but things happen in their life.
I think that's what
where they can't do it because they literally can't.
That's what drew the connection me to you, and like wearing your brand isn't just we have a connection, and it's great. I got the utmost love for you.
Thanks, dude.
But wearing your clothing in these interviews to back me up on that. That's
a good way of putting it. You know what? I never really thought about it like that.
To have confidence in me and believe in what I'm doing.
I'm literally on your back.
I
literally got your back.
You got my back.
Yeah, there you go.
And with that, it's like the appreciation is there.
Absolutely.
And that's why I was excited about this interview. I'm like, finally, the people.
I know we had to postpone it for a minute because shit went down. Just things scheduling and stuff like that. It wasn't like drama. It was just like scheduling and stuff. But for me coming up, it's weird. Like our crew was like super competitive with each other. So sometimes we'd like sabotage each other for dumb reasons, probably because reacting to that and probably overreacting, but we didn't like always, like the things that I wanted to do were always met with like, I got to do this myself. Yeah. Like there's not a lot of like, the homies show up and support your ass. It was always like in service of somebody else.
Yep.
And it's like, that's changed now. And that's what I like about it. It's like, if you see somebody doing the work and they're doing it right, then you got to get on board and you got to take care of them. Because that's what we do really well here in Milwaukee is we get really ambivalent. We like to say, fuck you, I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, then that's telling me that, okay, you don't care because A, you're not interested, or, all the letters in the alphabet for excuses for you not to support somebody.
Yeah. And, the craziest thing through these interviews that I do, you do see that. There is a wall up. There is a wall right now where there are people who feel a certain way, type of way towards me.
I know.
And all I've ever done was, what? I'm going to
So you know what that feels like.
Definitely.
And that's why you got to work 10 times harder because you don't want to feel that shit again.
Never,
you got to maintain what you've worked for because that shit can go away.
Yep.
And you don't want it to go away.
The thing I've focused and learned more than ever is consistency. Yeah. In this past year.
Yeah, man.
In less than a year.
That's right.
It's literally I read about it for a whole year and then I finally put it down and it's been going and it's been building.
Yeah.
And it's been building and I'm appreciative of it. But Milwaukee, it has several type of styles,
Yeah, I think so.
What's a trend you absolutely dislike?
Dude, that's a
Yeah.
man. Now you want me to like play my cards? Man, yeah. You calling me, dude? Like we don't even have cards on the table, man.
Yeah.
The trend that, I mean, I got to say, I don't really, the neat, like I don't like neat.
Yep.
Like if you're tucking your sweater in, or like you look like some like preppy motherfucker from like, you know, wearing a North Face jacket.
Yeah.
I just kind of look at that and I go, dude, like, do you only eat meat and potatoes? like
green peas?
Yeah, you have no imagination, dude. Like, you can't fucking like. There's a world of fucking all around you, and you. This is what you like. The boring is what you think you're cool in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. So that I just don't like, because that's kind of like you're settling in a weird way. And
yeah.
For most people, they don't give a shit about it, right? It's like I just go with like a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. And I'm cool with it. But I'm also saying I know something about you. It's kind of like when you see a firefighter, right? When they wear their uniform, you know what they're all about, right? You see like a dude who, you know, fucking in the military, he's got he looks like a tank commander, right?
Yep.
You know what that's all about, right? Right. And so that's, you see somebody wearing something, like sport related, and then you kind of go, oh, well, they're into sports, you know? And so that's kind of what it is. I see something like that and I just go, dude, are you going to like mass murder somebody? Like, that's what I see. Like, I kind of get worried about that. Like the really like neatly put together, like, perfect untucked shirt, with like some sort of like spiffy wooden soled shoes. Yeah. And some like jeans with a crease in them. You know what I mean? It's like,
you said the khaki shorts,
exactly. The cargo pocket shorts, and like, dude, I used to.
The shoes with no socks.
Dude, I wear shoes with no socks all the time.
No, I do too, but I'm
only leather ones, because if you wear real leather,
I'm talking the skippers.
Yeah.
I'm talking the skippers, bro.
So as a kid, dude, like the boat shoes. I hate the fucking boat shoes, dude.
Well, it's kind of like,
unless you like have a boat, don't fucking wear them.
Don't wear them,
because like, dude, that ain't like.
You want to hear something? Wore them all last summer. I found them at a thrift store. They were American Eagle. And I was like, you know what? I want
to see a photo with your skinny ass chicken legs.
In the commercial.
Yeah. Oh, you got them on?
In the commercial, I'm wearing them. Yeah, bro. I just thought about that right now.
Dude, next thing you know, you're going to be pulling a Carlton on me, man. That's funny. Yeah, so but I'm not passing judgment. I just look at it and I kind of go, the thing in my world is I'm telling you a little bit about myself with the stuff that I do, and I hope to make that connection with somebody. And so, like, the highest form of respect in this world is somebody actually with their hard-earned money buying something from you. Because everyone, they're so used to this Amazon world of like, I can get stuff in a day, and they expect that type of service from everybody, and they expect all this stuff, and it's like, you realize they're a $1 billion company, and they can afford like mistakes. If you're doing this solely independently and you finance yourself entirely for the last, like me, 23 years doing this, you need to be paying my ass more.
My cousin Eric always talks about instant gratification.
Yeah.
That's legitimately what it is. Yeah. But I do agree with you. I bought merchandise here. I'm going to buy something before I go out.
You don't got to buy shit.
No, you keep on trying to. No, I'm going to buy something because
it's my way of giving back, man. Like I said, I literally got your back.
Yeah, you do. So what's a normal day like in the office?
That's a
in
good
the office.
I don't know if it's an office. This is like a play romper room.
Dude, I loved it. What you've done with this whole man.
It feels good, right?
I look around and you talk about man cave.
Yeah,
this is definitely
my man
cave.
This is definitely whatever's on my mind is on the wall here somewhere.
Yeah,
and so that's good. Yeah, that's for sure. So it's weird because I like being on the street. I like streetwear culture, like that's my jam. Like that's what I grew up on. That's what I understand. So I love the summertime and being like doing street festival and talking to people and seeing what's going on in their world. Okay. Because that's interesting. So for me is I collect and like the antennas go up when I'm like talking to people.
Yeah.
Like, that's where my jam comes from, right? And then just finding out what they're into, and then that like I'll take a note, and I'll be like, oh shit, I'm gonna, and then I collect notes all summer long. And they're not like designs. Some of them are. I mean, sketches. Some of them are sketches. Some of them are words that lead into this. And then I already have the visual, like I see it. Yeah. And then I'll fuck with it, but I don't do that until the winter. Like January, February, and March is when I put all this shit together, and then I got to go make it.
Oh, wow.
You know, so it's like the running joke that I have is like, I'm like more an introvert than I am an extrovert. And so like the stuff that I process, I got to go out and then I got to perform for it in a weird way, you know, like, and that's kind of what it is. And so, and the goal has always been, you know, to express that in a way that, you know, you can say Milwaukee without having to say Milwaukee.
For sure.
Like, you know, how they say, how can you say something? How can you like show me a picture or whatever it is that says you're from here by not saying you're from here?
Yeah.
And then 9 times out of 10, somebody will say beer, or they'll say cheese, or they'll say the Brewers, or the Packers.
Farms.
Or right. And it's like
in New York, that's what they do.
That's what they think, right? It's like, dude, you know, you only have white people there, and it's like, no, not really, dude. Not where I grew up. It wasn't like that.
We're a bit melting pot too, you know.
I'm baby one. We're like a kettle. They may be a fucking furnace, but and so that is what it's like. It's, you know, like literally, you're sitting at a desk with. If you look down, all you'll see is just like pages and pages of fucking sketch ideas.
Yeah,
and they're doodles, and then they get fleshed out. And then I should organize them, but I never do.
Okay.
I get rid of them. Like I like the inspiration of like the ideation, like of putting it down to turning into something.
How would you
I just throw it away.
Type of style?
I don't know. I mean, my styles are basically 3 markers: a thin, a thick, and a middle Sharpie. Okay. And so that's where all the line drawing stuff is like done with like the pen that you're using right now, like the Sharpie thin pen. You know, and so like so all that stuff. And then what I do is I'll digitize them. I'll do it all in black and white, and then I'll put the color in on the computer.
You mean to tell me you draw these and then it goes into a
most of the time? Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I mean the city skylines, for sure. Like
the skylines. It's even on the brim of your hat.
Yeah, you know, so that started as a wire thing, and then it's like, well, how do I turn wire into a silhouette to make a pattern out of it?
Yeah,
and then it turned into like the soccer jerseys where it's a full sublimation.
Yeah.
It's like the entire thing all the way around. So some baseball jerseys are going to be dropping on Milwaukee Day, hopefully.
Oh, definitely.
That are going to feature that like high quality, like embroidered fucking good shit. Dude. Yeah. Like talking like baller. Like you wear this.
Oh, I believe you.
It's going to look like the shit. And
I'll tell you the sweater that I got that has, it's this.
Yeah, it's that.
It's this.
It's like the flag on your shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that right there, that one.
Yeah.
Man, when I flip up that hoodie.
Yeah.
And the way it absorbs my ear, and especially on a cold,
blocks out that wind.
Man,
I know, dude.
Oh my god,
because that's a reality here, right?
Man, it honestly, that's what I love most about. It's like me with this. I care about the quality because quality is going to say everything about who you are.
That's right.
And when I wear your clothes, that's what I feel.
There you go.
I feel, you can do prints and put these on shirts.
Yep.
But how does that shirt feel when you put it on?
Right, exactly. And then that's what I want, because then the crazy thing is it becomes you, becomes who you are, and then what you're inspired to do with it, whatever it is that you do. You know, because like, you know, when you're a kid, you always have that peer pressure of like conforming. Yeah. Like your friends are like, you know, don't do that. That's stupid, right? Mm-hmm. And then so the idea is like you almost wear it as like an armor. For me in the beginning, it was like defiance. Okay. It's like, I'm wearing this shit because I don't want to be dumb and wear, you know, I don't want to be like associated with that type of people, you know? Yeah. And so it, you know, it becomes like an armor thing. Like it, and a lot of people, I mean, you see shirts all the time with like their message on them. Mm-hmm. Some are super political, some aren't. Yeah. You know, but you get the idea who the Jesus rocker is. You know who like the hate monger is. You know who like the cool fashion kid is.
Yeah, for sure.
Or you know who like the real like arty person is. But that's what you know by what they're wearing, and that's easier to do now than it's ever been before.
You know,
I think there's like a defense thing with that. You know, and like a defense and an offense, because then it turns into the icebreaker. Yep. You know, and then it's like, oh shit, now we're buddies. I didn't know.
It's the even the way I looked at it. And telling how I feel when I wear your clothing. What's the impact you hope to leave through what you create?
Basically, a system where that's a good question. To the cats who want to do this and do it the right way, I just want them to do it easier than I did. Yeah. I want them to do it a lot easier than the way I had to do it, you know? And when you don't have a roadmap or any sort of direction, you kind of, you know, you come across as arrogant. You know, you kind of come off as defensive, right? Because like you've been told no all the fucking time. Like you shouldn't do this. And then, you know, people who don't really get it, they just don't, you know, it gets to that point where once you find that voice, go for it. And then the reality is turning it into a business. Like I needed something to do. Like I was like, what am I going to do for a living?
Yeah.
So then what I learned was that, I'm kind of okay at this. I'm pretty good at this. I can communicate. Yeah. So then I turned what I love to do into a job, and then I turned that job into a business.
Yeah.
And so that's really the definition of loving what you do.
Loving what you do.
Right? Because then, because if you don't, fucking go do something else. Go.
Well, shout out to Bacardi Sensei of Geek Set, because right now he's a designer too.
Yeah.
Their episode is about to drop next week.
Okay.
But that's his hashtag. That's his.
What is it?
Love what you do.
Yeah. You have to. If you don't do it. Don't start.
Well, I hashtag it. It's not his. I hashtag
right.
it all the time, but it's more of a respect to him because I love the way he put that. It's just like, love what you do.
You have to. Like if you don't, because if you don't have that, what are you gonna do for the rest of your life?
Yep.
I get it. Life is different. I mean, dude, I used to squat, dude, across the street from the YMCA downtown in a building that is now like a Hilton.
Yeah.
And we lived there for 2 years, like had an office that we paid rent for, but it was kind of an abandoned warehouse.
Okay.
And so we kind of threw parties there and we lived there, and then there really wasn't a shower. So you had to go across the street and like get a gym membership if you wanted to like clean your ass. Yeah. Right.
I remember.
Cause it's like, dude, you can't show to work. Like, I mean, smelling like, like onions or whatever. So, all these things like, what you have to do to like force these habits is kind of what life gives you. And you kind of have to play those cards. And man, that's the love. That's the dedication of doing it. I mean, my ass was broke for years, dude. Like broke.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I went to Vegas at a trade show once and literally had no money to load in my fucking equipment because it's a union hall in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't have money to pay the union hands to unload my van. So I had these counters that were like speaking on right now.
Yeah.
I disassembled them and turned them into like carts, like, the Home Depot type carts.
Yep.
And everything I had in there, they said, if you can push it through the front door, you can bring it in. If you can't push it through the front door, you got to get the fuck out. Wow. And so I literally in the middle of the desert was like putting my display booth at this trade show up with just these carts.
Yeah.
And so, and like, you're in there with like heavy hitters, and then this is 2008. And so it's the blood, sweat, and tears. And then the market crashed, right? And like no one was buying anything. Everyone's like, sky is falling, like no one wanted my shit. And I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? I have no money. And the last day of the trade show, someone wrote a big order, saved my ass.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you like give up because you think like it's fucking like you can't give anymore.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, dude, as much as like I'm not into like
it's pushing through the plateau. You get to I have a lot of,
if you work that hard, you get a little luck.
Yeah. Well, I feel when you're doing what you love and this is what you're meant to be doing,
right?
The pieces fall in place.
It takes a minute for you to realize that what you are meant to do.
Yep.
Right? Because a lot of people start off a career path and like, oh, this is not what I really love doing. Like, somebody who doesn't, when they go to work and all they want to do is get home and do the thing that they love, that's what they should be doing.
I literally, the first interview I did with Danielle Singali of Folia.
What's that?
The first episode. It's
Dude, you sound like
it's a
hand lotion company right there.
Yeah, you want to hear some else? You want to hear some
else? I don't care.
I'm just kidding.
That's good.
No, but
good. No, I was complimenting you
I know.
on your radio voice.
Oh, for sure. I appreciate it. But back to what you were saying, I knew in that first interview, I'm in a sunroom and we're mid-conversation. I'm looking past outside and in my head, I'm like, I can do this for the rest of my life.
Right? You realized it.
I like that. Yep. Bam. And that was going off of what you were saying. It's And since then it's just been pushing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're on your path and you are grinding, it falls together.
Yeah, it does. Maybe not overnight. Sometimes it takes a long time, man. A friend of mine used to say, "Oh, dude, you're going to be a 15-year overnight success." And that's kind of what it is, because everyone doesn't know, most people, because they have their own lives to lead, man. They don't really know the nuts and the bolts of, making sure, things get into production the right way, where the idea comes from, getting it from point A to point B, right?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden they see it happen and you're hot, right? And then like they just go, oh, look at that overnight success guy. And you're like, dude, you realize that this shit's been going on for years. And I'm glad that you caught up, and I'm glad you finally tuned in. But guess what? Now that you're tuned in, I ain't shutting the fuck up. So, and because, I'm lucky, dude. Like, I'm lucky. I'm not going to lie, dude. Like, for whatever reason, man, like, I feel like because of Milwaukee, like, I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done this any other place. Because it was the right time at the right place with the right ideas, with the right conviction, with the right, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I need to create a job for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it's like, well, why isn't someone doing this the same way? And it just, I happen to be that guy. And so for all the people that have, bought stuff for me and like I've hung out with and we got hammered together and shared stories, and like, those are the people I thank. Like, because like without them, like I can't do this, because they could easily go elsewhere to do other things and support other people. And the fact that they stick around is like, that's that Milwaukee love. And so respect to that. That's why Milwaukee is unique. Other big cities have that. And we just don't realize that yet either. It's like, you can be proud about that, and it's okay.
Well, that's what I see in you. That's what I see in your brand. It's that love, passion. And I'll say it again, authenticity. There's no other brand out of this city that I see has gone. I mean, I look around. I could look around this room and just, there's so many different type of styles, designs, and that's accomplishment in itself. What type of designers, like, would you say stand out for you as
the stuff that I like, the stuff that inspires me? It's kind of weird, because it's not generally. Like, the brands that I grew up with were, Adidas, Nike, Puma, and then that turned into, like, for a while I worked with Puma. We did some stuff together. We brought them in as like a brand for this place that I used to work at called Starship, and I was like, I really liked what they did. I almost got a job there. Like they were like a day away from giving me an offer.
Oh, wow.
Then they're like, you're not the right fit for what we need. And I'm like, dude, I didn't even think I was going to get this far. So that stuff, and then like most of the stuff is like being on the street. I see other people like what they're wearing, and I imagine what they would look like in another city wearing a different, like, if their circumstances were completely different, how would they travel in that city? Yeah. How could I make them look fucking rad? That's the goal. And so with streetwear, like with sportswear is what those companies were. That turned into like some of the brands that I really liked were like 555 Soul. They did some really dope shit. Who else was really good? Paul Frank way back in the day. Like, I'm kind of dating myself. Yeah. And then you have this, like, just interesting, because like all the high end fashion wants to look like street now.
Oh, for sure, man.
And I'm like, wow, so it's okay to like buy a
Champion coming back.
Yeah, like right, and you're Balenciaga fucking like $3,000 sweaters with holes in them that look like,
oh my god,
like the bum that like like just shook you down for like dope money.
Yeah,
because like third ward is like shooter's alley sometimes.
It's crazy to me how,
and so that high fashion shit is like, dude, that's what we've been fucking wearing since we were kids, dude. Yep. So I always wanted to make a tracksuit, and now I made a fucking tracksuit.
Hey, you did.
And so like,
that shit is so fire,
dude. Right? It's like, if you can wear 3 stripes, if you can wear 3 stripes, you can wear 414 down your sleeve.
You put me on with that photo shoot.
I know. Did you look at all proper, dude? Like the people that stop and like admire that shit is fucking hilarious, dude. Because they're looking at it and they're going, why does Milwaukee look like Italy? It's because, dude, we're literally on City Hall during sunset. And at that moment, that pose happened. Yeah. And like, you got like Milwaukee looking like international.
Can I just say?
You're looking good. Standing up in front there, dude.
It was looking great, but I was scared as fuck the whole time.
Dude, what? Because it was cold and you were afraid of heights?
It was cold and the height. Like, just, I had to work myself to get to the ledge and like look, but I got one photo of you where you were like laughing, and that's like my favorite. That's the best one. That day it was cold, but it was so much fun, and to see the city that way, from that view,
I know, right?
On top of City Hall, mind you, people, we are on top of City Hall. Yeah. Fred got the good old.
Dude, see what I mean? There are good people in the city, man. Like they. As much as everybody wants to shit on Milwaukee, and I'm like, dude, if you weren't such an asshole and you were like nice to somebody and you wanted to be friends, and I only learned that the hard way, because I would put myself out there, hey, you want to be friends? And next thing you know, you're getting like some dudes, like your homies are fucking you over, right? And so like you learn how to like figure that out. But if you lead with that love, then everything else follows. But if you lead like with being a prick or an asshole, it's not going to work out for you, man. It ain't. You got to have some humility. And so there's a lot of good people in this city, and like they came together to help us out, and we shined. And so I got to thank out my homies over at City Hall who put that shit together, man. They did a great job.
It was beautiful. What are ways you've you've collaborated with the community through your work?
Well, over the years, we did just recently. With the community, we did a Hank Aaron shirt I did for them, which was basically Hank Aaron in the middle of like the fours.
Oh, this.
And so the Boys and Girls Club got all that money. It was good. I mean, like sold out of it. I think I have like maybe one left that somebody didn't pick up, but I gave them a bunch of money. And all of that stuff with the Boys and Girls Club was with something that Hank Aaron was affiliated with it. I don't have any left. I can't,
I thought you said one. I was about to be like,
well, that's still that customer that hasn't shown up to pick his or her shirt up.
Well,
so
now they're
I'm
going
still holding it for 2 years, right?
Oh, wow.
So that was, that's the baseball that I remember growing up with those stories, with the Robin Younts and then the Paul Molitors. And like, that's when baseball didn't become what the fuck it is now, So, but that's all with almost any pro sport. And when you're an athlete at that, I get it, dude. I know a lot of athletes and pros at that level, and it's a different world, man. Like, it's a different world. And so, but that excellence is no different than what you do or what anybody else should strive to do, So there was that one. What else was there? We did this, because I've done a lot of them over the years. I'm just trying to remember which ones there were. That was the most recent one. I've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
What else was there? Hang on, it's coming to me. I gotta look around.
Look around. Look at the inspiration.
I don't know about that. I just gotta remember. There was that. Hang on, and there was. We did something with the tour of Wisconsin's Dairyland. They put on bicycle racing, so I did a shirt for them. And so basically, what it is, it's the one you're wearing right now. I mean, I'm fucking looking right at it, and I don't see it. That was during the pandemic.
Yeah,
and a lot of the street vendors that I know didn't have business for 2 years.
Yeah.
And like, we were like, the social justice thing was happening. The shit was on fire in 2020. And everyone is like, if you want to help, donate to somebody's cause. And I'm like, well, I'm going to donate to the cause of my homies that, happen to be black and brown, but we're out of work. And so we sold like over 400 shirts or something like that.
On the back, it says light has weight.
Yeah. And that's it. So the idea was you got some fucking light. It's heavy. Why don't you share that and shine it on the world? Because like everybody who benefited from that, they're quality people.
I was curious what
they're all on the street right now, and you know who they are, and they know who they are, and they do great work, and people love them for what they do. But for 2 years, there was no business, and so we generated some cash for them, and it's like, well, fuck, we all came together for that, and that was like it was a crazy time. Hot, people were hot. They were thinking like a fever pitch about all kinds of things. And I'm like, well, we all forgot about the people in our own community.
Yeah.
And so that was the other one. That was probably the most successful one.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's 25 real quick.
Well, the one
400.
you were telling me before we started the interview with the war.
Yeah. Oh, that one. That was the latest one. That was, no, that was actually the latest one. That was, we did that that wasn't really the community here. That was more of an international cause.
But
yeah. That was for like the UNICEF kids, because it got all political and nasty with Russians and invading Ukraine and just being imperial fuckers. It's like what? Like we need another imperialist? Like I know we're one, in this country. We behave like it a lot. And so, we've done some fucked up shit, no doubt about it. But I'm like, when, as being a kid, like I know what that feels like to have your entire world upended. And so I was like, well, you know what? Let's do that and give them all the cash for it. So if I feel like it's a worthy thing, then I'll do it. And then, it comes at the right time. Like the vote shirts were the same way. There's one right next to it. So that was also another one where the proceeds went to like the Fair Elections Committee or something. I can't remember where I might be wrong. I know I'm wrong.
It's been
about
through
that.
there. You've collaborated with the community, and that just says so much because it's like, I always say, how are you going to say you represent the city if you're not getting in the mud?
Yeah.
if you're not getting in the mud,
That's why I do the street festival.
hey, yeah, that's where I met you.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the first time I met you.
Really?
Yep. And you never realized that. I mean, shout out to Hallie Schmeling of Educators Amplified, because she put me. She was the one who called me and says, you should really contact this guy.
I remember her. She came into the shop.
Yep, she came into the shop.
Yeah.
But
She's a teacher, right?
Yep.
She's a teacher, yeah.
And
nice woman.
And I told her, I was like, yeah, I seen him at it was summer solstice.
No, I wasn't at summer solstice.
No,
this year.
it was 2 years ago.
That could be it. I think I was at the last one before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was. Well,
that's what it was.
Well, that's where I met, and I walked out to you, and I had a card.
Really? I don't remember that, man.
Yeah,
I don't remember that at all. You sure it was me?
I'm very sure it was you.
You sure it was me? You sure it was this
I'm not
dude?
saying it was before the pandemic. It was. If it wasn't summer, were you at Brady?
Yeah.
So that's where it was, and it was this past year.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yep. So that is literally. But I gave my Spearhead because I had just got the business cards.
I think I remember that card, and I probably have it. If that's, what, I might remember. I do remember that.
Yeah.
I thought you were full of shit.
Yeah. Well,
I do remember that. I totally remember that.
Well, my wife bought those cards, and that was the first. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use these cards, and bam.
And then here it is. I remember that now. Yeah, I totally remember that because I was looking at it, and I was looking at the design of the Spearhead, and I'm like, that's a cool looking Spearhead, is what I thought.
Dude.
But then I was looking at it, I'm like, I mean, this thing ain't gonna do shit with it.
Yeah.
And then here you are. So
Here I am.
guess what? Who knew? I was wrong.
It worked together.
I was wrong, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't like, oh, this dude is gonna fail. I was just like, he's got a lot of energy. He's, who knows? Maybe it's gonna happen or not. And then you've clearly demonstrated that you weren't fucking around.
Hey, man, I love it.
Because I get a lot of that, dude. A lot of people
I believe it.
are gonna tell me what they're gonna do, and they don't do anything.
I believe it.
And then I was like, okay, maybe I don't know. I was like, okay. And then I was thinking, I really like the logo of that.
I really grew up not being about what I said, and I think that's now this point in my life what I strive not to be.
Okay. So do you think that hustle and that the voice that you used was from that old you?
Yeah.
Because it kind of came across, because I've heard that hustle before.
Yeah. I'll never that's what motivates me and drives me right now.
Okay.
It's staying away from the person that I could say something, but there's no weight behind it. There's no meaning.
Well, that's what this is for.
And this is where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Everything I say, I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And everything I do,
You have done.
I've done.
Yeah. I'm witness to this.
And,
This is
yeah.
true.
And it's like,
Well, you're also finding your voice now doing this.
Well,
and you're finding something out about yourself.
It also stems off of how you've you said the city is attributed to you throughout this whole interview.
Yeah.
It's people like you who believe in me.
Yeah.
That is giving me this power to basically capture the people no one thinks you can get in the room with.
Right. Yeah.
I'm serious.
You can't, right. I mean, if everybody who heard no the first time went away and never did
Yep.
what they did, we wouldn't have anything on this planet.
Yeah.
Because, we confer value. Like, we bestow any sort of value, which I was thinking about this is going to be like the next shirt that I'm going to do somehow.
Yeah.
But it's like there is no like royal version of what like the best is or whatever. There's no it's like we as like you and me and everyone who lives in this stuff, we say what's like the value of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's the cool thing. We get to participate in that, and we get to write a page.
Man, through all these interviews, everyone is we're just people. We are literally just people.
I was watching an interview yesterday. I was in a waiting room, and Charles Barkley was on like a talk show, and he was talking to somebody. Asked him, "What the hell are you doing in the supermarket?" And he's like, "Well, I'm just like you, man. I'm buying some stuff. I'm hungry. I need to eat." And I was saying to myself, "Yeah, that's it. If people stop, putting like the shiny lens on stuff and like, exalting like, idol worship and all this, whatever it is, like, and you just kind of go, man, they got the same, maybe they're doing it better because they have a talent and they're making their talent great.
Yeah.
But really, when it comes down to it, when it's all said and done, we're all the same. We all have the same desires, passions, emotions, care about mostly the same shit, unless you're like really fucked up.
Yeah.
That's another story. But then you realize that if you lead with that, you're fine. You just gotta get, you gotta. And so that's what the shirts were all about for me. It was like, you can wear something that, you as a defense mechanism or defense like armor would make you feel good about yourself, but it also gave you the courage to go, be proud and feel good about yourself and go do the things you want to do. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm from Milwaukee and it's not funny. That was the joke, right?
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, dude, now it's right. I'm from Milwaukee and we're rad.
Yeah.
That's the difference now. And dude, everywhere I look now, everyone is kind of going, yeah, man, I got Milwaukee pride, which is in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's not the stereotypical way. And so my wish, I guess, is for people to when they describe Milwaukee, describe it in new words, new colors, new feelings, new sensations, new smells. That's the goal. Because we already know what we did, right? We don't want to live in the past.
What do you feel your vision all together, all around your vision for this brand?
Is basically, like I said earlier, man.
Yeah.
If you're super whoever you are, famous on the planet, everybody knows who you are, I don't want to see them wearing a New York Yankees cap.
Never. What's the funny part about you saying that?
Yeah.
I was born in the South Bronx.
I know. It's funny. And I'm looking at your hat right now, and you made me wear headphones that I don't want to wear, and I want to make you wear a hat that you don't want to wear. So this is the shit coming full circle, my friend.
Around. Well, So,
Mr. New York, you better start wearing a 414 hat.
Well, yeah, I will. Yeah. And that's what I will promise. That is a promise I will make to you.
All right, okay.
It will be 414 hats from this. But I will tell you, when I do go to New York,
because you're going to be that famous guy, man. I see it happening already. I see you becoming who you're going to become.
Thank you.
And you're going to rep that, and you better rep. It's not where you're born; it's where you belong.
My family that sees me in New York every time I go, they get so irritated that I wear Bucks, Brewers. Oh, that's all I wear when I'm over there.
You rub it in on the East Coast. I love it when you hear that.
I had a guy come up to me on the street and was like, "Why are you wearing that?" I'm from Milwaukee, bro.
Dude.
Like, what the fuck?
Dude, I love it. Nothing makes me laugh more. It gives me the greatest pleasure than hearing hey, New York, hey, you from Milwaukee?
Yeah.
When I hear that, I'm like, say it. Say it again. Say put some respect on that damn.
Put some respect
on it. That I love it. It's because
that's what they used to call me. Wisconsin. Yeah. When I was on the block and when I played basketball, they called me Milwaukee.
Yeah, there you go. Right? It's always Milwaukee. Right? It's always that fucking do the woo woo woo.
Hey,
right? You know who it is. I'm saying it, and you probably picture your friend.
Man, believe me, they think we have accents, but they have accents.
We have accents too.
Well, I know we do.
Yeah.
But I love all my family in New York. I love y'all.
Of course you do, man. But I got family all over the world too. I wasn't born here actually.
Oh,
I didn't tell you that before, man. Yeah. I was born in Romania of all places.
My boy out here, bro.
Yeah, I know. And so I came to this country as luggage, the hard way, and didn't speak English until I was 5. I would sit in kindergarten, dude, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And so that's when I learned to process. Mm-hmm. And then when I figured it out, I was like, you can't shut me up. And so I know what that outsider perspective is like. And so I've always said, it's not where you're born, it's where you belong.
Yep.
And I love my family back home too, and I see them and they're great and they're doing great things. We left a communist country, man. Getting out is a chore in itself. Try getting out of some oppression. Yeah. It's very difficult. And so we did do that. And so, my folks are strong people. Old school.
Man.
As old school as you can get, dude.
Well, that's how I feel growing up.
So you get those values, dude.
It was strict.
And then you rebel against that.
Yep.
And that's kind of why I did that.
But you rebel, and then somehow you formulate into what that was. You do. Absolutely. I have. It has come full circle, and the appreciation I have for my mother.
Yep. You're never gonna forget those.
Never values. Gonna forget it. We don't always see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, that's my mother. But those values that I grew up with. That's something, it stays with me. And all you can do is, just love who you are, love what you are, what you've become, and keep striving to be better.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
What advice would you give to aspiring designers?
It's what everyone says, man. It's not that hard, man. I was watching Eddie Murphy get an acceptance speech for some lifetime achievement thing. And the dude said 3 things. And he's like, pay your taxes, keep your heads down, and keep like Jada Pinkett, whatever, out of your
Name
mouth.
out of your
right,
mouth.
Right. And I'm like, fucking Eddie, dude, is the king. Like growing up, Eddie was my guy. Like that.
Yeah.
Like him and Robin Williams. Like
Yeah,
like,
Robin Williams.
Those two dudes. Like
Favorite movie was Jack.
fuck, great movie, dude.
Great movie.
Great movie.
That's the movie I remember me watching over and over.
That's the only dude that made me cry in a movie theater was Robin Williams ever.
Patch Adams.
No, it wasn't. It was Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
And it was The Fisher King.
Wow.
Did you ever see The Fisher King?
Yeah, I had it on VHS.
Yeah, dude.
Fisher. I'm dating myself.
So you know. So you know that dude, and then Eddie Murphy was with Delirious. Like we saw that for the first time. Like, and so you know about the ice cream. You all heard the jokes, right? So like when Eddie does stuff, everyone's like, "All right, stop. We got to watch this because this is the master. This guy's the best of the best, right?"
Yep.
And those two dudes, you know, that's the advice, man. It's like it ain't that simple. It's basically three things, man. It's, you know, you got to love it. If you don't love it, and you're going to lose more than you win.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's you know, like Chuck D says, man, you know, don't let a win go to your heart and a loss go to your head, right? Or a loss go to your heart and a win go to your head. That's
win go to your head.
Right. And so it's basically that. So you're going to lose a lot. So be prepared for that. And then when you know, when you're coming up, you know, and you're chasing whatever it is that, you know, you're chasing your dream, get to that point where you can actually live the dream. Don't let it slip away. Be like super thankful and humble for how you got there. Because that journey bit is really, you know, and the only reason I can say this is because I'm older. I've done it.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen the perspective. I have a little bit of time where I've looked back and I'm like, man, there's some really cool people that helped me out, and I'm thankful to them. Yeah. And so that's really what it is. I mean, because, you know, anybody who wants to be creative has got a certain amount of ego.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can see it. It ain't that hard. Once you have it and you see it in other people, you know, you kind of go, oh, they have something special. Right. And so that's it. It's basically those three things, except for the Will Smith bit. Throw that shit out. Yeah. So, I mean, think of it like in three simple things, like Eddie Murphy style, man. Just do it, love it, you know that you're going to fuck up. Right. Mm-hmm. And then
it's a part of the process.
You got to keep on going. Just don't stop. Don't stop. I mean, it'll happen, dude. I mean, for some people it happens young.
Yeah.
Some people it happens later. But if you stop along the way, some people have to. I mean, that's just life. Yeah. Right. But if you know, when you survived and you can keep on going, that's because people were looking out for you.
Yeah. And
so you got to like respect that. You got to pay tribute to that. So that's knowing that it's going to be bad. But if you know it's going to be bad, don't let it ruin you.
You know, and this is why I love doing what I've been doing, because there have people like you that have believed in me. Because I do get in my moments. I do get in my moments where it's like, you know, am I like, is this working? Am I really doing this?
Yeah.
For me, it's just keep pushing forward and don't stop. There is no time for gaps.
Yeah. You have to, because like you're going to be the first one to know if it ain't working.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so if you keep on going and you still believe in it, like whatever you think you got to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Just do it, man. Like, don't give a fuck about what anybody else says about it, you know, because once you know you got something, the reason you know you got something is when everybody wants a piece of you.
Yeah.
You know, they want your time. They want your attention. They want to be in your business. They want to know, you know, like somehow they find a way to like get on to you.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you to be like, and if you don't know, you can get played out, you know, and if you don't have that experience, and sometimes you need the experience, but then when you see it coming, you're like, all right, dude, like you ain't for real, you know? And that's just the thing, you know, that's what every kid should know. No?
So I will say thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, my pleasure, dude.
Man,
this is a good jam.
I know we've been working it up to here, and the schedules have been crazy, but to finally get here and just, you know, vibe out, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
it's an easy conversation.
Yeah, man. I do believe me. This will, when we make those leaps.
Yeah.
Believe me, that brand is gonna be on my back, brother.
Dude, because I got your back, dude.
Yeah, you do got my back, bro.
No doubt.
I appreciate you. So, with that being said, this is Fred Gillich of 414 Clothing.
Yeah, man.
Tell everyone how they can
On the lines, 414milwaukee.com in the 3rd Ward on the corner of Buffalo and Water, 3rd floor retail in the Marshall building. So, people who like to buy stuff in person. So that's how you get a hold of me. And then you'll see me on the street at the best street festivals in the city, Bastille Days, the Night Market and Brady Street. And then some few other quality ones too that are coming up. So look out for those.
Oh, definitely.
Just, find us on the socials. Just, we'll let you know where we're at, and we'd love to.
Are you on
be
Instagram
friends.
and?
Yeah, all that. It's all the 414 Milwaukee stuff.
Okay.
Yep. All the socials, man.
Cool,
dude.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
And let's get it this year, bro. Thank you, brother.
Yes,
oh, man. Right.